Welcome everybody to our latest webinar, Partnering for Sustainability. Programs brought to you by, of course, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in conjunction with Green Tier Program, the SGP program, FTA, Great Lakes Graphics Association, Printing United Alliance, and TLMI. Today, your moderator is myself, Joe Lyman. I'm president of the Great Lakes Graphics Association. And a little bit about webcast logistics. All attendees are muted. If you have a question or comment, you can always use the chat feature in the lower center of the screen. Questions can always be answered at the end of the program. This webcast is being recorded, and the recording will be available to you in the next next few days. And we'll also provide you some information in the email that when we send you the recording. A little bit about today's agenda, welcome and introductions. We'll talk a little bit about the Sustainable Green Printing Partnership. We'll talk about the Green Tier program. We'll talk specifically about partnering for sustainability and the 5 bullet points that you see below. And then we'll talk a little bit about building sustainability relationships. At this time, I'd like to do a poll question. If you could, please answer it at your convenience. It should pop up on the screen. I'll give it a few more seconds. All right, it looks like there's the other category. So kind of split 25 and 25 between printers and print buyers. And then the remaining individuals are in the other category. If you'll bear with me one second. At this time, I'd like to introduce Gary Jones, who is with the SGP partnership program, as well as the Printing United Alliance. Gary?
Oh, thanks, Joe. And I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. We're very excited that you could make it. I think this is going to be one of our better webinars that we're having regarding sustainability and partnering, because as we said, you can't do this alone. You need to have partners in order to become a sustainable printing operation. And what I want to do is take a little bit of time here to talk about the Green Tier program and the Sustainable Green Printing Partnership. Now, Green Tier is a Wisconsin-only program, but it is a program that provides recognition for companies that are committed to sustainability and want to go beyond, so to speak, and become recognized under the program. There are benefits and values associated with becoming a Green Tier, and there's different levels for Green Tier. But primarily you're getting a single point of contact with the DNR. You're getting regulatory flexibility. There's been some new streamlined permits that have been introduced that are really beneficial and I think very attractive in terms of the Green Tier program. Of course, reduced costs, risks, and liability. And likewise, the Sustainable Green Printing Partnership is it's a national program, and it is a program that's designed to certify and recognize printing operations that want to be identified as a sustainable operation. It allows you to meet your customer demands, reduce your operating costs, provide positive environmental and workforce response. We know that SGP certified facilities have really been able to do many positive things with respect to the environment. Most importantly, though, from an operations perspective, SGP programs are able to reduce their operating costs. The SGP Impact Tracker is basically the center part of the SGP program. It allows you to monitor and illustrate your progress. You put your metrics in there. It gives you visual identification. It allows you to be able to report back to your stakeholders what you've been able to accomplish in terms of your sustainability efforts. What's nice about the Green Tier and SGP program is that they're literally compatible with each other in the state of Wisconsin. So in other words, if you become recognized under green tier, becoming certified under SGP doesn't take a lot of work. And likewise, if you're an SGP certified printing operation, you can become green tier recognized again with very little work. This was a project that we worked on to make the two systems compatible. And if you achieve one, you can achieve the other one without very little effort. So I won't take up any more of Jenny and Shannon's time. We're so glad that they can join us to be the leaders for our webinar. And Joe, I'll turn it back to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gary. I just wanted to mention the 4 organizations that I mentioned earlier. That would be FTA, the Printing United Alliance, TLMI, and Great Lakes Graphics Association are partners in a charter with the Green Tier Charter with the Department of Natural Resources here in Wisconsin. We have a very close relationship with them. I think it's run probably 3 decades. And we're extremely happy and pleased to be able to partner with them to have our members not only comply with DNR regulations, but also to promote sustainability in the state of Wisconsin. Today, I'd like to introduce Shannon. I'd like to welcome our first presenter, Jenny Dela Cruz, who is the COO and co-founder, AKA the Green Queen, Energizer Bunny, and Genuine Tree Hugger. Jenny brings over 15 years of print experience to the table. After graduating from Rochester Institute of Technology with a bachelor's degree in print management, Jenny gathered her experience through print production, vendor management, and strategic sourcing. She developed a passion for sustainability and applied that passion to her work in print and completing her certificate in business sustainability management from Colorado University Boulder. She has become an expert at focusing her print and marketing solutions to protect natural resources. She is a driven, self-motivated leader with passion and purpose at her core. We also have Shannon Boone presenting, who is the Director of Sustainable Partnerships for New Leaf Paper Incorporated. Shannon joined New Leaf Paper in 2020. She has spent her entire career working in the paper industry in various roles, ranging from specification sales, marketing, sustainability, and project management. Shannon uses her role at New Leaf to bridge connections and create solutions that help preserve our environment. Welcome, Shannon and Jenny.
Thanks. So I'm going to start us off. New Leaf Paper is one of the only paper companies in the United States focused exclusively on sustainable printing papers. Since 1998, we have led the industry with environmentally responsible papers that compete aesthetically and economically with many virgin fiber papers. We offer a wide selection of printing papers, most of which contain 100% post-consumer recycled fiber. You can see in the picture there that we're a small but mighty team, and there are 4 of us. New Leaf Paper is a woman-owned business. We are majority owned and run by women. We have an office in California. We have one in Appleton, Wisconsin at the old Atlas Paper Mill building, and I am located in Charlotte, North Carolina. And our mission is to be the leading national source for environmentally responsible and economically sound paper. Through our success, we desire to create a fundamental shift to sustainability in our industry. And we believe that the best way to change the industry is to lead by example. And that's not with one green product line, but with every single transaction. And we are focused on this in every capacity of our business. Our desired impact is to reduce pressure on waste on the water streams and in our forest, provide paper products that use less water and less energy during manufacturing, and reduce greenhouse gases by increasing the demand and use of recycled content fiber in North America. Next slide. So we align ourselves with many terrific certifications, and you can see those on the right-hand side. All these certifications are dependent on our transparency as a company and our core mission. Many of these certifications, we are legally required to document the impact of how we do business as it relates to our employees, our customers, suppliers, community, and the environment. We offer a wide selection of sustainable papers, and you can see nearly all of them contain 100% post-consumer recycled fiber. We are FSC certified, and we are proudly a B Corporation and a certified woman-owned business. Now, New Leaf Paper is a little bit different. We're an aggregator to represent sustainable paper products. So we outsource our manufacturing to partners to make specific needs for our customers. And then we develop products and programs. Currently, we have 7 products offerings that you can see, anything from coated to text and cover to offset. And let me highlight a few of our more popular grades. We have Reincarnation, which is a coated matte finish sheet. It is available in 60-pound and 80-pound text. It's 100% post-consumer recycled fiber, and it is available in quantities of 5,000 pounds and higher. Then we have Ingenuity, and Ingenuity is a super smooth text and cover grade, all the way from 60-pound text to 130 DTC, double thick cover. This is available in carton quantities and is also 100% post-consumer recycled fiber. We have Harmony Offset, and this grade is a terrific workhorse sheet. It's Snowball's favorite sheet, and it is available in truckload quantities. And if you're looking to make one small change to being more sustainable, check out Harmony Office Copy Paper. This is a 20-pound stock, and it is available by the ream or carton quantities, and it has HP ColorLux technology, which is guaranteed to produce vivid colors, fast drying times on all printers, faxes, and copiers. Next slide. So why should you do business with a New Leaf Paper? Transparency, flexibility, and accountability. It also should feel good to support a local business, especially those that are involved in your local Wisconsin community. We create customized programs working with our partners to help them with their sustainability needs. That's offering like a 100% post-consumer recycled fiber house sheet, or perhaps creating a closed loop obsolete inventory waste program. Let's get creative together. Since we're solely focused on sustainability and paper, we're uniquely positioned to help you develop and meet your sustainability goals. We can be your sustainability expert. Think of us as an extension of your team. In this slide, you will see the rectangle, and that's our eco audit. And this eco audit is a very visible way to show tangible environmental benefits of trees, of waste, of greenhouse gases, of energy, of using a post-consumer recycled fiber sheet instead of a virgin fibered sheet. Many of our customers reproduce this box on their printed material. And if you're not using a tool like this to improve your sustainability matrix, start now. Reach out. Let's continue this conversation. I'm pretty easy to find. It's Shannon at newleafpaper.com. You can also follow us on social media. I am the voice behind all of our social media. If that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, reach out and let's continue this conversation. See how we are promoting sustainability, our products, and our mission. Many of these reasons are the nuts and bolts of why we work with sustainability partners like Jenny and how it benefits her as a company. And with that, I will turn it over to Jenny so that she can provide some additional tips.
Hi, thanks, Shannon. I am Jenny Dela Cruz, and I'm the COO and co-founder of Snowball Print Marketing. What we do is, our mission is we're innovating with integrity. So just like them, we are a certified women-owned print market partner. And everything that we do, we want to support and build impactful engagement opportunities. So we're really focused on people, profit, and planet. and all of our buying decisions and our supply chain, support that as well. So you can see the Ancient Forest Friendly certification. We actually are the only, I think, women-owned and the only print marketing or management company in the world that are actually Ancient Forest Friendly certified, which is a pretty big deal. And what we cannot do, so a lot of what I talk about is I do conservation first and then restoration. So if we're unable to do 100% PCW like Shannon has presented, this year's been a little crazy with paper, as we all know. So we have to be a little bit flexible, and our business is print. So we need to have paper to print. So when we cannot get the 100%, we partner with Print Relief, and we're able to plant seedlings based on like the pounds of paper that we're using. So it's a good, system that we have, a holistic view. Next slide, please. So our main focus at Snowball Print Marketing is direct mail. We send out a lot of postcards, a lot. You probably receive them in your mailbox, and you probably don't know it's us because we're pretty stealth about who our clients are and what we do, but we are awesome at direct mail, and we do everything for postcards, bifolds, specialty, inline. We can work with you to make a super interactive piece and make it have a good return on investment, and making sure that your incentive is on the piece, that you have the landing page. There's all these good call to actions. We work with you not only just to print it, but we also help you with your paper choice, figure out what's going to perform well, who you're going to target. We really start with the marketing conversation versus like just starting with the print conversation. Some of the benefits of working with us is we have a strong vendor list in the US and Canada, and now we're starting international as well, where we can really work with printers who share our goals. That's really important to us. So we keep building this list. It's constantly changing, constantly evolving, and looking for printers, right? We're looking for more printers to join our roster list. It's really important to us to keep growing. And what we really value is SGP printers. I can't talk enough about SGP. They're such a strong group of people and organization that really pushes the gamut of printers, not only by providing you resources, but just giving you that dashboard of real results that you can look at and set baselines and goals and looking at things from a holistic point of view. So we not always look at price. Yes, price is important, of course, but we do value, if two people came in at the same price, we're going to pick the SGP printer every time. It's something that we really value. Other things we're looking for is an environmental house sheet. So I know Shannon touched on this as well. Not a lot of people are doing this, not a lot of printers are doing this, but it's a really good thing, because right now for me to get the paper I want, I'm having to buy in advance and having to store it, or buy what I don't know, like I don't have a job necessarily to go for it, but I'm so passionate about it. That's what I'm looking for, enough to do that and invest the money. But if printers had a house sheet on their floor and said, hey, we have a 70-pound Harmony offset on our floor, I would love it. Okay, you got the job, let's do it. So it's really important to me. And we just love printers that handle direct mail as well. So we're open to other things, but really that's pretty much our bread and butter. Next slide, please. And then I just want to remind all the printers or anyone that's listening, it's really important to have a purposeful partnership. I reached out to Shannon. I've been working with New Leaf for many years now, many years, and they've evolved and they've changed, but the core of what they believe is still the same, and that's just taking care of people and the planet, and Snowball's right there with that. So I would say on this journey, you can't be the only one, right? So we like to lead by example as well. We like to push people out of their comfort zones, think about the future, think about next generations. What's the future going to look like, and how's it going to work in the printing industry? As we all know, this year is really tough, different ways. Every year has different challenges. So every printer counts. if you make commitments to the green tier, if you make commitments to your state and doing good things there, being SGP certified, all these things make a difference. And then if you're working with New Leaf on getting paper, or working, you know, anyone that's making 100%, every order makes an impact. So don't think of it as, oh, I don't have 2 truckloads of paper to do this. Like as Shannon mentioned, you could start with like a couple of reams of office paper in your facility as a way to get started. So start small, but the important thing is just get started. I know we have lots of questions, lots to get through. I have a QR code here that will take you to our website, which is snowballpm.com. And I'm looking forward to discussing all these action items. Next slide, please.
Excellent. Well, at this time, we have a panel discussion. Let me, pardon me. Sorry. Gary.
Yeah, Joe. Hello?
Okay, so I'm unfamiliar with the panel discussion.
Those are the questions we sent you, Joe, for
Oh,
the.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go back one. So I have a few questions for both of you. Do you have any tips on finding the right partners, both up and down your supply chain, that match your environmental or sustainability strategy?
So I'll go first, Jenny, and then you chime in
Sure.
on everything I left out. So one of the things that I do in looking for partners is, first of all, I look at who's following us on socials, who, especially LinkedIn, who is following us, who's creating the sustainability noise, the environmental noise in a productive, positive manner. And then I reach out to them. I reach out to them and extend a hand and introduce myself and tell them what we do. I also participate in many different organizations and look for different resources on the web. I guess that's my main thing, is I search for stuff on the web, through social channels, and through some community organizations around sustainability.
Yeah, on my side, a lot of times I'm starting with SGP. And when I look, I'm like, okay, is there any new vendors that join SGP that can do direct mail? And I will email Marcy, or I'll follow up. I'll say, anything happening, anything new? I can give a shout out to Bolger, who's a new vendor of ours. And they've been doing a fantastic job with us. And we never would have found them if it wasn't for SGP, because, you know, they're not like the big dogs, you know, like a Big Donnelly or a big shop in the Midwest, and they do amazing work. And, you know, without the SGP certification leading us to them, you know, we might get lost. So I really start with certification. That's a big thing for me. And I also look at websites. You know, I look at your website as a printer, and I want to make sure, you know, what are you saying? Are you even talking about sustainability, which is super important to me? Do you have any environmental paper program? Do you have any commitments? Is there anything that you're like, I really look at it and take the time to search your website.
Yep. Let me add one more thing. I also look through the certifications. So like our B Corp certification, I will look through there for like-minded people, especially in the industry, and just establish contact with them.
Excellent. Are there any other qualifications that you look for when you're seeking out a printing operation to partner with, Jenny?
It's equipment, right? A lot of times it's equipment lists and understanding what kit we need for certain projects. So we like to, you know, you have to have it all. We just kind of have to figure out what the sweet spot is for each of the printers that we work with, so we make sure it's a good fit for them as well as us. Because I'm not going to, you know, put out quotes and bids to people that are not apples to apples, right? I don't like to have one huge shop or one really small shop. We try to make it really fair. And I think equipment list is really important as well.
Excellent. Well, how do you build value with your customers?
Jenny, you want to
You
go
want me
first?
to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Gosh, okay, so how do we build value? We, kind of what I was saying before, we don't really start our conversation with just a print conversation. We really try to understand our clients and what their needs are. And we look at either current creative, if they have any, who their audience is, what their goals are, trying to understand how to make the best ROI, to make the best decisions as possible. And I think that's the value in working with us. We'll also, you know, we'll be thinking for you on your behalf. So even if you're a future client, you might not be interested in sustainability, you might not know much about it, or it's not even on your radar. We'll make sure it's on your radar without you even worrying about it. Like, we're going to work with printers who care. We're going to order the most responsible paper we can, and then we're going to offset. We're going to plant trees, and we're going to do all this just behind the scenes, just like a cost of doing business, because that's our mission and that's the core of what we do. So that's the true value of working with us.
So a value that we provide is not only that eco audit, but just the personality behind the sustainability. Like I said in my presentation, we're the sustainability experts as it relates to paper. So many of the conversations that I have with people are not just exclusively about certifications. It's, where do I start? We can start by purchasing this one small aspect of sustainability and making a dent there. You don't have to move mountains. I don't want to overwhelm anybody in thinking sustainability, you got to go all in. You can go in and build up to it. If you go in and set some goals, hey, every other job, we will look at this, or, you know, having that question, we will have our customer service people ask the question, or quoting a job and then bringing it to the customer by saying, hey, we quoted this sheet and this 100% recycled sheet. Here's the price difference. This is what you gain. And I think providing that tangible eco audit really cements that decision many times, because they want to be viewed this way. I mean, this is a top issue in the media, and they want as much visibility as they can with those two things.
Yeah, and you need metrics, right? You need metrics, you need a baseline, you need to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
You have to just start, right? If you don't start and then you don't know, you can't set goals to make yourself better. So I think, you know, the Environmental Paper Network calculator is amazing, and more power users of that as well. And so, you know, they put a lot of time and energy to make that calculator, and it's a fantastic tool to gather information.
Yeah, and the tool, I mean, proves exactly 100% post-consumer recycled fiber versus a virgin sheet. So you can see the savings and very meaningful information. So.
Excellent. I have a question for Jenny. What percentage of your clients make sustainability a priority?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say when they work with us, 100%. Right. They don't always care. I hate to say it, but they don't always care. They don't know that they care, because I'm going to care for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how that works.
Excellent. Well, this is a good time to do another poll question. If you'll bear with me 1 second, I want to ask question 2, which is, do your customers ask you about sustainability issues? So I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. If you could, go ahead and answer it. This is a good segue to that. Excellent. I'll give it about 10 more seconds.
I would love to answer, but I would skew it.
No, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and then share the results. And so what we see is yes, sporadically. And I think that's a trend that's happening. People are asking about sustainability. You see very large customers, especially corporations, doing this, including Walmart and some of the airlines and what have you. Just a very interesting take on, I think, a trend that's becoming a reality, right? And I will try the third question. Let's see, the third question is, this is a good, again, tying in and very relevant to the question I asked Jenny, is do you talk to your customers about sustainability? And give it a few more seconds, maybe about 10. All right. Go ahead and share those results. And so overwhelmingly, individuals are talking with their customers about sustainability. As Jenny said, I think she said start small. I think a lot of companies are definitely starting small and making sure that they reinforce the idea that print is sustainable. Of course, we represent the print industry, but print couldn't be more sustainable. It's fantastic that they created these little blue bins back in the 70s for people to put their recycling in. And now people understand that overwhelmingly print is extremely recyclable. I want to dig a little deeper or drill down a little deeper into kind of the decision-making process when you have a client. This question is for Jenny. It's about recycled paper. What do you do when there's not 100% recyclable paper available? What do you do to guide them?
Yeah, I think as we know, the paper industry is insane right now. So we're all feeling it. Anyone touching print in some way, we're all feeling it right now. And I'm hoping it's going to change. You know, unless you're willing to throw down some money and buy 100% and just have it on the floor and store it, we're just having to basically use what we can whenever we, you know, relying on our vendors most of the time to purchase the paper for us, just given the situation right now. So it's been a tough year, and I'm not happy about it because, of course, I want to, you know, work more with New Leaf as much as possible. It's just a little tricky thing. You have to believe in it. You have to support it. I mean, we have to support companies like New Leaf because I want them to be around. Like you talk about sustainability. If no one's supporting them, they won't make it. So you have to support the partners that you are doing the right thing. So, I mean, we have some baselines. I mean, my absolute baseline has to be FSC, like no questions. And we 10% PCW. It's kind of like the lowest I will go. And then from there, you know, we do use the print relief to plant seedlings based on what we can't get 100%.
Excellent. Well, Shannon, I know you have some tools at New Leaf that you help to calculate the benefit to your customer of using your papers versus non-recycled sheets. Can you talk a little bit about your eco audit program?
Sure. The eco audit was what I pictured on that last slide. And it allow anybody can do it. You can, but I'm happy to do it for any customers. You go in and you put in your paper stock. It automatically compares it to a non-recycled sheet, and then it spits out information such as greenhouse gases and how many trees and waste, the savings in that by using a post-consumer recycled fiber sheet versus a virgin sheet.
Excellent. And I know, Jenny, you're putting information on your invoicing to your customers and clients to make sure that you reinforce the idea that sustainability was part of that process that you used to be able to create that product.
Yeah, it's important to just give information, right? I think the key thing is letting people know what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're doing it. So, and also just having, you know, communications with your clients. And so setting up quarterly reviews, giving them, you know, dashboards or information to share with them is a really important thing. So as printers, you know, you might not think to do that, but they actually really enjoy it. People like information and they like to see that they're making an impact. Because otherwise they might not know.
Jenny? I mean,
Say that again?
It wows them. I mean, they It's like
Yeah,
sprinkles, you know, they don't expect it. And when you get it, you're like, wow, I mean, it's really impressive.
it is. It is really impressive. And I think, you know, a lot of things that we do, everyone thinks, oh, it's too expensive to use recycled paper. We can't use, like, are you crazy? We don't even have a big budget. But you can, like, you really can. You just have to prepare and you have to, you know, think about it. If people are, you know, can forecast a little bit and, like, say, once you get into more programmatic work, then we can work with you to help you make sure you get the most environmentally responsible paper. When we get like one-off jobs here and there, it's really hard to do. And we're, you know, sometimes you're just scrambling trying to get paper for the job, let alone making sure it's 100%. But this is why, like, both Shannon and I talked about this is, you know, if as a printer, you are committed to an environmental house sheet, not only are you going to help yourself feel good about what you're purchasing, but you're going to help your clients because it's going to be on the floor. And then you're going to sell that. So the more you're buying, the cheaper it gets. So it's not it's just a win-win all the way around. We love the Harmony offset. I love that sheet. It is my favorite sheet. It's perfect for letter envelopes. And it's, you know, it's totally reasonable. The pricing is very affordable. You just have to have a little bit of time and planning to make sure it's ready. But I mean, they have, New Leaf has an amazing mill that they work with. I've even tried to get printers close to the mill. So I'm reducing the carbon footprint that way as well. So we're not freighting the paper too far. We try to think of everything. You know, you want to make the print as close to the mill as you can. So Midwest is really great. We like printers, you know, Wisconsin's right in there. So definitely printers should reach out if you want to get on our roster. That would be awesome.
Jenny, talk with me a little bit about and explain how you engage with your customers to understand, to be able to understand how they embrace your process of sustainability. You know, do they appreciate it? Do they look for more? Do they say, how can I step this up to the next level? Talk with me about some of the customer success stories that you've had to say, here's a customer that started off at a low level of sustainability, and now they are extremely interested in sustainability and they make that a part of their, you know, supply chain logistics.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have a client that has a really unique product offering, and it's, you know, it's in line with like, you know, death and, you know, afterlife and what comes next, right? And their process and like helping people go through that. So when they came to us, they're like, we want to work with you because you focus on 100% post-consumer waste products. So they've never done direct mail. They didn't know where to start. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know anything about it. So I was able to help them come up with a program. We did some tests, you know, different formats out, and everything we did was on 100% post-consumer. And they were really excited about it. They were really proud about it. They wanted to put everything on their piece. You know, they wanted to put that 100% recycled logo. They wanted to put the Ancient Forest Friendly logo. They wanted to scream about it, right? And made me feel really good, because then as I give them feedback, like, okay, we have the next project coming up. Here's what we did last time. How can we, you know, make this better? So if we increase the volume, you're going to, you know, make more of an impact by, you know, saving more trees, and it's more of a holistic point of view looking at it. So from a client's perspective, you know, they came to us, they started that conversation with sustainability, but once they started learning more about what they're doing, they really asked for and demanded that we want to continue this and we want to make even more impact. So I love clients like that. Like that's not the norm, right? That's not the norm. But when you get those clients, like, they're my favorite.
Excellent. Well, with you, Shannon.
Yes.
With you, Shannon, does New Leaf Paper offer any alternative fiber papers?
So no, we do not. All of our papers contain are made with wood fiber papers and nothing alternative. And the reason we don't do that is more, it goes back to what Jenny was talking about earlier, is we think about the whole picture and transportation. And at this point, all of our paper, everything that we produce is from North America. So many of these alternative fiber papers are pulled overseas, and transportation is an issue. So we're Smart Waste certified. So when I say that we track every aspect of our business, we completely do, including transportation. So we do exactly what Jenny said, is that, we look at what mills are close by to us and form programs with them. And unfortunately, most of the alternative fiber papers are not within North America.
Excellent. Well, we talked a lot about paper today. Obviously, there's a problem with paper, which is you can't get it. It's very difficult. So
Yeah.
talk with me about, what your process is for being able to help customers get the paper. And if there's not a particular product that you can get your hands on, what's the process to say, hey, look, consultative view of it, how do we fit you into another paper that will work?
Yeah, it's really tough right now. You have to use what's available. Like this is just how it's working right now. So you just have to be careful what you put out there in the world. And I'm sure printers are feeling this. You almost want to put like 80-pound cover, not like 80-pound McCoy silk cover. You don't want to be specific because you just don't know if you can get that. And then maybe you can only get it for this one job, and then you can't get it the next time.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to communicate that in your quote, and you have to just be transparent about the situation, and that we're trying our best. And we're hoping that, the tides will turn and things will normalize. I don't think, they'll go back to exactly like they were, obviously, but the situation we're in right now is really crazy. And we just have to kind of get through it and work together and stay sane and use each other as resources, right? And I've even seen certain, paper merchants. I have extra paper that my client can't use, or we have on the floor. Do you want to buy that?
Yep.
So just work with your community, your network.
Yep. The only thing I would add to that is planning. Planning and timing is wildly on your side if you're upfront with it. There are papers that are out there that we can't get for the rest of the year. You have to plan and just communicate, be transparent about that. That's, one of the things that Jenny and I pride ourselves in, but also the companies that we work for pride ourselves in is, there are pains right now in the industry that none of us know how to navigate. You can plan ahead of time. Like Jenny said, having a house sheet of recycled stock on hand is gold right now. Is everybody's advantage. So hopefully things will change.
Shannon, I just want to ask a question about recycled paper. And is recycled paper cost more than virgin paper? And why is that?
Yes. So by having a product that is more environmentally friendly, it doesn't mean that it's going to be less expensive. There are different processes that go on, such as sorting, removing adhesives, pulping, de-inking, manufacturing. It takes more time, more resources to work with a recycled product sheet. So recycled papers cost more, but the investment is in our planet's future. And I think you would be surprised how compatible the pricing is. And I would highly suggest price out your next job and just see.
And I can imagine that's just first cost. It's not the life cycle cost, right?
Right.
So when you add in all the other facets of why it makes sense to use recycled paper, I'm sure that cost probably comes down over time.
Yes.
Well, do either of you have any insights on sustainable substrates other than paper?
It's not, I mean, mostly I'm dealing with paper, because a lot of what I do is direct mail. I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of like wide format printers, but that's not really my specialty.
I would ditto that. I've only had experience in the paper industry, so I don't feel comfortable talking about
Excellent.
sustainability across the board.
Well, I know they're doing some pretty interesting things with corn and plastic. What we would consider plastic, but corn-based products that are clear. And so I'm just interested in chemistry wise, where that leads us to. So I know they make cups now that are clear that are made of corn byproducts. I'm just curious whether that ends up becoming obviously a crop, but a sustainable crop, whether that ends up becoming a reality at some point for film. Well, at this time, I'd like to ask if anybody has any questions from the audience. You can always use the chat feature on the frame of the software program. Any questions? Well, I especially appreciate your time today.
Hey, Joe, sorry. I had a couple, but maybe you didn't see them. So can I just ask them?
Sure.
Okay. Jenny, quick question. Can you elaborate on how you conduct your quarterly reviews? You mentioned that in your presentation. And what do what topics do you cover? And primarily, what do you cover from like a sustainability perspective when you do quarterly reviews? I assume you do those with all your partners. Do you do those with your customers and your print providers?
Yeah, the biggest thing I don't, it depends on the client, and how engaged they are with sustainability. But for vendors, we like to try to do a quarterly review and work with them and try to measure our impact of working together. So sometimes what we'll set up is called like a post-mortem, where we'll sit down and we'll review, okay, how is things going? How's the job going? How's the work that we're sending? Do we have the right people working on it? Do we have enough people understanding the work? And how's the team? And what are we doing about paper? Are there any things that we can work together on to plan for future jobs? How about pricing, customer service? There's a lot of things that we go through. As far as like sustainability, sometimes, it's a little bit tricky right now. I mean, really what I'm trying to gather is, and I have to reach out to the vendors right now, because typically we were supplying most of our paper previously. So this year has been a big shift for us. So we've had to ask vendors to buy paper for us. So I really need those numbers of all the, paper purchases that were made, so I can make sure to put it in the EPN paper calculator, so I can start, making my metrics and understandings, and that way I can then work with print relief and offset it properly. So that's kind of the changes. So I think the most important thing about having just a review in general, just having FaceTime with people to talk about what's important to them, how are things going, getting feedback. And anytime you can bring up sustainability, always bring it up. Even if they don't think they're interested in it, you'll be surprised, because once you start providing information of the impact that they've made, or the paper that they use, and this is what they've done, this is what we've done on your behalf, they're really impressed by those numbers. So we're going to continue to do more and more of that, because I think it works really well for clients to get that feedback, and even for vendors, just to set those expectations of what we're looking for.
And are they receptive to that? It seems like they are.
Totally. I mean, I think SGP printers are really great. Like, they get it, because they're used to having to, supply information and update their dashboard and working on goals and being like, so they're just wired that way. The vendors that are not SGP certified tend to be more not as forthright with like information, right? They're like, well, why do you need this? Or, you know, we're working, everything's going fine. Why do you want to push us down this direction? And we're like, well, this is the future, you know, we all have to do this together. It's not going to just be me. You know, we all have to make changes and set goals and do things to help the planet. And just even by you being more sustainable, you might save money too. You might use less paper, or you figure out how to make less waste by how many get up on a sheet, or lots of different ways. If you have a paper program and you know, commit to it, like, you know, New Leaf pricing is totally reasonable. You can still do what you need to do and feel good about what you're doing. So I think that's the goal, is really just getting out there and communicate.
Awesome. Shannon, I have a two-part question for you. And they're related, but are you seeing an increase in the requests for sustainable paper from printing operations and other businesses? And for the other businesses, what types of businesses are you seeing? Are they new to you, or are they a new business line? Or, you know, because you mentioned that you have copy paper, that's a sustainable copy paper.
So the copy paper was launched by the Ream to the timing was perfect, unfortunately, because it hit during the pandemic when most people were working from home versus going into an office. So with us selling it by two reams being the minimum purchase that you can purchase up to a carton, it was perfect for offices to provide the paper for people to use at their personal printers. That has definitely, I mean, that kicked up. That was great. Unfortunately, you know, it's a double-edged sword because of the pandemic. That was great for that time. I'm getting more calls now than what I got 6 months ago, for sure. So I definitely think it is picking up. I definitely think people are getting the idea that this is a strange time in the paper industry, with mills having labor shortages and disruption of supply chain that was just exacerbated by the pandemic. You know, the push of wood pulp prices jumped. Paper, unfortunately, took a direct hit. So people understand that and are planning for many projects that are Q1 of next year. So I definitely see business picking up, people planning, people understanding the time, embracing it, having those conversations, and forecasting, doing a lot better job forecasting.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. For the position I sit at Printing United Alliance, you know, we get a lot of questions from our members, and I see a lot of our print customers are now embracing more sustainability. There's a drive for the supply chain by even perhaps, you know, some of their customers, so to speak. And so I've seen a definite uptick in the questions and interest in sustainability. And I just was wondering if you were experiencing the same, and it seems that it is.
Yeah, it's very mutual.
Yeah. Now I have a follow-up for Jenny. For those customers that are not necessarily interested in sustainability, it's not their primary focus, do they appreciate your efforts, and have you been able to change their attitude towards sustainability because of what you provide them?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, it's just talking about it with them, getting them familiar with it. You know, sometimes it's like the S word. I call it the S word, right? Because people are like, I don't know enough about it, or I don't know where to start, or so you don't really I don't even use the words that often sometimes with them. I just talked about impact, and it's more about, look at the impact you've made, right? Look at the choices that we've made for you, even on your behalf, and look at the impact you've accomplished, like this quarter, this year, and let's set goals for next year, and let's just have these conversations. So it's, you know, it's definitely, you know, it's a curve, right? And people have to be open to it and kind of feel intimidated by it. So you just have to make decisions for them sometimes. And really, a lot of things that we do, like even on the print release side, is a cost of doing business, because I feel like it's our responsibility that we've made this, like we kind of created this, we got this paper, we need to make it better. We need to like actively plant trees or do, obviously I want to conserve first. Like that's my biggest thing, is conserving ancient forests, right? Because when we plant trees, like we hope that they survive and we hope that they grow, but you just like climate change is real, and it's hard, right? It's becoming really, really hard for everyone. So we just want to make sure that you feel like when you're working with us and we communicate with you, I don't think no one's ever feeling bad about working with us. No one's like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to talk about that, right? They're always interested. Wow, we did that, or we made that kind of impact. It's super interesting. So, again, as long as you're very, you have a good open line of communication, you're transparent, you do some type of reporting, you provide information, I think people really are impressed by that, and they enjoy reading the information.
And do they eventually take advantage of it and start touting the sustainability aspects of what they're doing?
I mean, I think they, it's hard for me on my side, right? Because a lot of times I'm dealing with marketing departments that, that doesn't necessarily align with their product lines or where they talk about it, right? And you kind of hope that you could push them on their end to kind of, to think about their supply chains, think about what they're purchasing, how they're spending their money, because the goal is you really want to support the supply chain that's doing the right thing. And if more of us are doing that, it just makes everything better, because it's just it's just much easier when you're spending that money and it's responsible and ethically, and any order I get from New Leaf, I always feel so much better. I'm like, oh, so glad I was able to get this paper order through New Leaf, because I know it's made in the US, has a low, carbon footprint. They're using a smart way. And then, it's 100% PCW. And we've had, there are printers that do push back sometimes and don't want to use environmental papers because there's a stigma around it. So a lot of times we're like, well, let's get you some test sheets and let's try it. And they're like, oh, it actually works okay. It's totally fine. But there's, people don't like change. And if anything we've learned over the past couple of years is like, that's all we have. The only constant we have is change. And it's going to get even crazier. So we just have to work together and support companies that are doing the right thing.
Yeah, I have to believe that strong positive message that you're providing back to your customers is resonating, especially if they keep coming back to you for the next project. Clearly, that's got to be adding to their level of satisfaction in working with you. My last question that I have, Shannon, is how does your company work with your suppliers for your products on sustainability? Do you have regular meetings with them? Do you do something like Jenny does? You meet with them quarterly or some frequency? Like, how does your company, you're obviously providing a very sustainable product. How do you work with your suppliers on partnering for that?
We do something very similar to what Jenny does. I mean, there's always a discussion on both sides of the communication. What's going well, what's not going well, where can we improve, what are the goals going forward? And then it's checking the box. Are you still this? Are you still this? Supporting documentation. Many of the transactions that we have for our quarterly basis are sharing of information. Hey, I need you to sign up on this, that you are still certified, because many of our certifications with the transparency, we have to document each of those steps. So conversations are, transactional of this is what we need, but it's also regrouping of how is it working with us? Do you want to continue working with us? A give and a take. And through those conversations, you're always going to learn something of process improvement. And that's one thing that we are big on is this is where we are now, but where can we be? How can we be better? What do we need to do? Sustainability as a company, with our suppliers, with our customers, with our community, with the environment. So just pushing it to we are better, we can be better, and growth. So very similar conversations, just different people involved in them.
Do you find, because of the way that your company's positioned and products that you're supplying, that attracts more potential vendors? In other words, do you have people reaching out to you to become part of your supply chain?
Not at the moment, because times are tough, times are different. And in fact, we're seeing many of the paper vendors that, I shouldn't say many, but paper vendors that were potential future vendors of suppliers for New Leaf paper shifting to packaging. So there is a disruption right now in the supply chain, and we have to figure it out. So we are extremely selective on who we do business with and who we bring on as a partnership in the supply chain.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about the shift to corrugated, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, if we could all figure out how to print all our products on corrugated, we'd be in good shape. But I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
Like white paper.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand. Joe, those are my questions I had. I don't know if any more came in, but I'll turn it back to you.
No, but I appreciate Shannon and Jenny's time today. You guys did a fantastic job sharing your perspective, as well as tools and resources that you use to be able to benefit your clients. And I think it's going to be a big help to a lot of the people that are on the meeting today. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. We will be sending out some information here in the near future, and we're going to also provide the individuals that registered today with Shannon and Jenny's information, so that they can follow up with information that they'd like to know a little bit more about. With that, thank you so much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.